Companies use budgetary control to verify whether their results are in line with the objectives defined in the budget. Variance analysis involves identifying the reasons for potential deviations from budget and the corrective actions needed to resolve these deviations. This module presents a simple approach for calculating and breaking down variances that any manager can easily implement to better manage his or her business unit. In this module, you will follow Sophie, a management controller, and Julian, a newly promoted product line manager who works for a company called Kim B. They will introduce you to performance measurement, variance calculation, the breakdown of variances, and will finish with a summary conclusion. At the end of this course, you will understand how to calculate and break down variances, and you will have had your first encounter with one of the core performance management tools. Hello, I'm Julian. I'm an aviation enthusiast and a private pilot. But we're not talking about piloting an aircraft today. Instead, we will look at piloting or steering performance. I work in a company that manufactures wooden toys, and I have just been appointed manager of the model aeroplane product line. The production process is fairly straightforward. We purchase wooden panels and cut out the different pieces that will be assembled to build the model. I have budgetary control and variance analysis tools to help me steer the performance of my product line. I'm not very familiar with these tools, but luckily my colleague Sophie from the Management Control Department is here to help me out. Sophie, I know that these tools are used to measure performance, but what does measuring performance actually mean?
We normally take performance to mean achieving our objectives. So, performance measurement involves verifying whether we have achieved or whether we will achieve our objectives. There are two aspects to performance measurement: financial performance, which corresponds to the achievement of financial objectives, and non-financial performance. To measure non-financial performance, we use non-financial indicators and performance scorecards. We will not be covering this aspect today. We can measure financial performance by using summary financial indicators, such as ratios. For example, we can calculate a rate of return and compare it to the minimum rate that we wanted to achieve. Another method for measuring financial performance involves looking at the components of the budget and analysing the variances compared to this budget. It is this approach, generally referred to as budgetary control, that we will be looking at here. This method involves verifying that the actual results obtained are in line with the quantified objectives defined in the budget. The budgetary control phase is a real management tool in the overall budget management process. We can use the budget to define our objectives and the resources needed to achieve these objectives. But if we just prepare the budget and stop there, the budget will only be useful during the year as a benchmark or reminder. It won't really help us to manage our business. Budgetary control actually involves regularly checking where we are compared to budget and whether we are on track compared to the objectives defined in the budget. If we identify a difference, known as variance, we need to determine the reasons for this variance and take measures to resolve it, known as corrective actions. In other words, we need to ensure that the resources are employed to return to budget, or if this is not possible, we may need to revise our objectives.
Controls, objectives, steering, corrective actions. It sounds like we're flying a plane. A pilot has one objective: to bring his aircraft to a given place at a specified time. He sets a course, but for various reasons, for example, an unexpected wind shift, he deviates from his planned route. So he needs to regularly verify his position compared to the route initially planned and correct his course if needed. Too large a variance could even prevent him from achieving his objective and oblige him to modify the objective.
The same is true for the company. Monitor the budget on a regular basis. Analyze the variances between actual and forecast figures. Implement corrective actions. And revise the objectives if required. These steps are necessary for a successful budget management process.